institution of its type in the United States that ground broke without a dime of private or corporate funds. This, of course, is outrageous, and it's no wonder that we need to have additional funding for this Performing Arts Center. But how is it to come? Through the food and beverage tax? Or maybe the urgence of the council to the mayor and to ask him why nothing has been collected. The first 2.5 years after that bond was approved, we had no recession in this country. How come not a single nickel was collected? At least it wasn't reported on 50C3 income tax returns. Must have been somewhere, if at all. Maybe that's what the council should do. And I can say this, that in my campaigning, as you well know that I'm involved in that for the last 3 months, people of this city, and I've talked to over 1,000 of them already, are dead set against this food and beverage tax ordinance. Why? Because they feel it's not telling them the truth about what's happening with the Performing Arts Center. That they don't want to see funds filtered out underneath, not knowing what the number is, into a fund, and then later being told, oh, well, we just shoved another $1.3 million into the center. They want to know what it is up front. And from a procedural point of view, based on how this ordinance was constructed, it would seem to me that the same procedure would occur should additional appropriations be required for the Performing Arts Center next year. A request by the mayor to the council would consider it, they could reject it, they could accept it, they could lower it. Now that's exactly what this ordinance does. So why does a food and beverage tax, which would go into the general fund anyway, have to be put there by ordinance? And by ordinance, what, in perpetuity? Shall it always go there? Or should maybe the council say to Mr. Libman and to the mayor, now it's about time that you get out there and raise some money for this center, that it cannot be put solely on the back of the residents. But apparently that hasn't happened yet. And nobody is pushed to that extent. But yet we have a near $250,000 executive managing director of the Performing Arts Center that's now telling us we're in economic recession. And nothing can be done, that the expectations for contributions are slim. So where we are is a Performing Arts Center that has no endowment, no contributions. It's got a main stage theater that's being built that has a sweetheart deal with the Indiana Civic Theater for a pittance and compared to what its construction costs will be. We have a floor on the Performing Arts Center building itself that's being leased out for a whopping $1 a year. And we have bookings for concerts in the Performing Arts Center with entities that have $10 and $15 tickets. That is not going to be sufficient to fund a Performing Arts Center that could very well be approaching $200 million in cost. I think that it's time for this council and this mayor to level with the people of Carmel. And I think they will be understanding. At least they've communicated that to me. They've said that the council has to, and the mayor finally has to admit that this entity has gone overboard. That $80 million was one thing back in 2005 when our city had a population of around 50,000. But now it's 77,000 with a $200 million Performing Arts Center. That is too hard of a burden without an expectation for further resident taxpayer money and probably an expectation of higher taxes. Because otherwise, how is it going to be paid? Or are we going to wait long enough for it to default? that will affect our credit rating of our city and of the Carmel Redevelopment Commission. We can't let it go that far. So I do hope that this council reconsiders this food and beverage tax ordinance, something I believe is a backdoor way of financing the Performing Arts Center, and to be straight with the people of Carmel. They're waiting for it. They're scared about this situation, more so than you all can imagine. Maybe all of you in the campaign to come should start knocking on doors and talking to the people, because that's what they'll be telling you. So I urge you to remove it from the budget. Thank you.